Good evening. How's everyone doing tonight? So I'd like to start by apologizing. I've been a little bit under the weather, so if I cough or my voice breaks, it is not because I'm getting all emotional, although I generally do. It's just because I'm feeling a little bit down in the dumps. All right, so before we get started, how many people here have heard the bell choir play before? I like this. Okay. How many people have not heard the bell choir play before? Also awesome. Thank you guys for coming tonight. So this is our annual alumni concert. This is the final concert performance of the season. And for the last, 52 years, the bells have played for the church during the Christmas season. And so it's become a bit of a tradition for us to have this performance and take a moment to recognize the people that have played in the choir, the people who have been parents of members of the choir, take a moment to recognize the people who have directed the choir, and really just to say thank you to the congregation as a whole for the support that you guys give us. So we want you to sit back, enjoy all the music that we have tonight, and thank you very much for coming. So for those of you that are aware, being a director of the choir is no small task, And I found out very quickly from a lot of different people that it takes a unique individual to do it. I say this because Katie Lay has been the assistant director for the last 2 years and has done an exemplary job of musically keeping all of us where we need to be, and also from time to time keeping the kids in line, and from time to time keeping myself in line. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Katie Lay.
Thank you. For those of you who don't know much about the choir, when the choir was founded, there wasn't a large variety of handbell music available, so our founder, Ed Duncan, would write or arrange pieces for the choir to play. This next piece is a medley of Christmas songs that were popular at the time. Some of them you will recognize, while others you may not. Either way, we hope that you enjoy Hooked on Christmas Bells.
While they take a moment to get set up, for those of you that aren't aware, let's go into a little bit of a background of the choir. The choir was founded in 1963 by Ed Duncan and 9 original ringers. And they had multiple fundraisers to raise enough money to purchase the bells because they wanted to try something that was unique, something that was different, and something that would bring them together as a group. Over the next 52 years, 470 ringers have been a part of this organization, culminating to the 17 ringers that you see here. But if I've learned nothing from the choir, it's that they are not ever just up here. They're almost always in the audience. And they come in and they sneak in and they sit down and they fondly remember what it was like to stand up here and play bells and to get into trouble and to go on tour and to have lots and lots of fun. So, never ever. So, I'd like to take a moment to recognize the ringers of Christmas past, so to speak. So for those of you that are or have been ringers in the choir, please raise your hand. They like to congregate up front to be trouble. I really love you guys back there. Like, thank you so much for not causing trouble. Let's give them a round of applause. I also very quickly learned that, and I'm ashamed to say my parents kind of went under the radar when I was a member of the choir on how much parents actually help out with the bell choir and the organization as a whole. And they do a ton of work. And a lot of the times they are very much the unsung heroes of the choir. So I'd also like to take a moment to recognize any past parent or current parent of the Wesley Bell Ringers. Raise your hands. Hi. Let's give them a round of applause. And then finally, I know that I probably can't get them to stand up, but I did want to take a moment to recognize 2 people who made it possible for the organization to exist in the first place, for the organization to carry through to this moment right now. And that is Ed Duncan, the original founding director of the choir, and Terry Waite, his predecessor, or his replacement. So let's please, they're not gonna stand. They never stand for me. So please just give them a very hearty round of applause. So a lot of you guys already know what the organization is and know about the bells. I'm going to give those of you that don't know much about it an opportunity to learn a little bit more later in the concert. But again, I wanted to say thank you all very much for coming tonight. Children. All right. So now is the point in the program for those of you that don't know anything about the choir to raise your hand and ask a couple of questions, and I will do my best to answer it. So, for those of you that don't know anything about the choir, what questions do you have? Yes. The age range is from 9th grade, the first year in high school, to the first year in college. We have occasionally taken kids that were a little bit younger, and we have actually allowed older bell ringers, and I use the term older loosely, to continue to play in the choir. So anywhere from 9th grade to the first year of college. Yes? Uh-huh. So the question is, based on the variety that we've had in the past, why we don't continue to do that. I'm going to call out a particular director, and that director is actually Ed Duncan. So again, like Katie said, at the beginning, there wasn't a lot of arrangement for handbells. They just didn't exist. And so Ed actually composed and arranged a ton of pieces. And unfortunately, those pieces, some of those pieces have been lost to antiquity. And so we are slowly working on trying to get those pieces back again. And he's been gracious enough to allow us some of those pieces. But there were quite a few that we sang to and danced to that we don't currently have anymore. But I will try to add a little bit more variety back in again. What other questions? Yes? So the question was, how did we come up with the idea to have Lizzie Steele do the violin? To give you a background, none of the ringers are required to have any sort of musical experience. And so what we do is we invite them to come play for us, and they basically, if they don't play an instrument, they learn the music by rote. We told them where their notes are on the page, and as some of these bell ringers can attest to, we just continue to hammer it into them until they get it. But there are a few of them that are very talented, and Lizzie Steele is one of them. And to add a little bit of variety back into it, well, they're all very talented. I mean, really. But Lizzie does violin. We have somebody, Marco, that plays cello. I know I'm going to be forgetting. We've got people that play piano. We've got dancers. There's quite a few of them that do a lot of different things, everything from guitar to just straight bells. So we just try to add a little bit of variety. Yes? How did I find out about the bells? My mom and dad made me go. So to further bring out some of the bells, this organization is a part of the church, but it is not, it's open basically to all backgrounds and to all faiths. So my folks originally came to Christ United Methodist Church because it had an excellent youth program, and part of that youth program was the bell choir. And my brother did it, and I started in the Asburys, which is a junior high version of the choir. And then one year, they called me up, and they said, "Do you want to be a member of the choir?" And my parents told me this, and I said no. But they convinced me to go to that very first practice, and I was hooked from that point on. And I have played English handbells for the last 20 years, 22 years, 23 years, and hope to continue to be part of the bell choir for a very, very long time. So really, listen to your mom and dad. What other questions? Yes? I find that teenagers, when they get bored, are a bit of a handful. So what we do is we try to give them the opportunity to play in multiple spots. And in this particular case, we have members of the choir who just want to try different things. And it makes for a stronger bell choir overall when they're able to play multiple spots. Next question in the back. How much does one of the big bells cost? $1,200. Terry, wait, where are you? There we go. How much is the most expensive? $2,500? So about $2,500. Sorry, say again? So the C2 is $6,400. Yeah. So guys, what it comes down to, and I'll tell you a little bit about the bells so you can get an idea of why they're as expensive as they are. The highest bell is a C8, very tiny, and it sounds, G8, thank you. And it sounds a little bit like this. And I lovingly call it a shot glass with a handle. And then it goes all the way down to our lowest bell, which is a G2, and it sounds like this. And it weighs 20 pounds at the beginning of the concert. They mock me because that's not my joke. I stole that from Terry. It was a good joke. He's going to charge me on a per-use basis. All right. And we have choir chimes, and they are a much more melodic sound, and they sound like this. And they go down all the way to our biggest choir chime, which sounds like this. And it's basically a metal 2x4. We have up front what they call silver melody bells, and they're a brighter sounding bell that's used to bring out melody, and they sound like this. And then all the way in the back, we have a young gentleman named Holden Rainier, and he's surrounded by quite a few instruments. He has orchestral chimes, he's got a glockenspiel, he's got sleigh bells, a tambourine. But over to our right-hand side are Pettit and Fritzen handbells from Holland. Now, these started off as the original bells with handles and everything that they're supposed to be with, but they stopped making them. So instead of us just giving up the bells, we hung them from a tree, and they sound like this. And then right in front, as most of you know, is essentially a bass xylophone. Way back when, an audience member heard our choir play and wanted us to have deeper, lower notes. And this is back before we had the aluminum bells. And so what they did is they tuned some metal bars, they hung them above resonators, and essentially created a boomagong. 2 were originally made, and as far as we know, this is the only one in existence, and it sounds like this. So there's quite a few instruments that we use, and we play them in quite a few different ways to get the sounds that we are able to produce. And it takes a lot of talent for these guys to do what they do, and they do it very, very well. We have time for a couple more questions. Yes? Oh, sorry, right over there. The question is, how many hours of practice do they do? And the answer is, these guys practice 4 hours a week. They practice for 2.5 hours on Sunday, and then they practice for 1.5 hours on Tuesdays. They will occasionally come in and do individual practices or group practices, which are sectionals. And the commitment is not just the practice that they do. They actually do the practice, the multiple hours a week, and then we ask them to do about 10 to 15 Christmas concerts a season. We ask them to do various fundraisers to earn money for the choir. And then on top of that, we ask them to give us about 2.5 weeks out of their summer break to travel the country and to go to various places and play for churches and to share this music ministry with multiple people. So it's not a small commitment that we ask of them, and we're always very, very happy that they give it to us. We have right now 17 members, and I'm putting the call out, we're looking for more. So if you guys know of anyone that would be interested in playing for the choir, we would love some fresh blood, for lack of a better term, to be in the choir and to have some great moments with us. So it's a pretty big deal. And then I've got one last question all the way in the back. Yes. The group was named after John Wesley. So for those of you that, would you stop? Sorry, Wesley. I do that wrong all the time. And it was named for that. Now there's actually 2 choirs within the Wesley Bellringers. There's the Wesley Choir, and then there's the Marcia Vilvan Choir. And again, we're a little short, so right now we are just running the Wesley Choir, but they do a very, very good job, and that's how we were founded. So, and again, I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. This next piece is going to be our offertory piece, so thank you very much. So for the final piece of the night, we'd like to leave you with something a bit more Christmassy that you guys can hum as you go along. After tonight's performance in the gym, we're going to be having cookies and punch. So if you guys are interested, come over there, reminisce about the bell choir, try to stay out of trouble and just have some fun. You guys are more than welcome to come. And again, it's been a pleasure and always an honor to be able to play for such a receptive audience, but more importantly, to be able to play for a group that truly appreciates not only the choir, but for what the choir stands for. Merry Christmas, and you guys all have a good night.